different um, to what you might be used to in other, D&D and stuff like that. Um,
Yep.
I am trying out. This is the first time I've tried it out. I've had 2 sessions now with two of the other players, where it's a solo session trying to go through some sort of key points of memories uh, in your backstory that have led you to this point, to the current day kind of thing. Um, the way that it works is that I'm going to drop you in at a certain time. We're going to go through a scene, and then once we feel like the scene's sort of concluded, um, I will then fast forward to the next memory. So you'll have some little time jumps in between. Um,
Sure.
Anytime you want to stop me and ask something or whatever you need, you just let me know. I will pause at different points and literally just ask you, what would you like to do on things. So feel free to jump in as much as you want, because this session is all about you. Uh,
Righto.
so
There will probably be lots of questions because I legitimately have minimal idea of what's going
correct. So
on.
um, the other thing that I liked about this for you is the fact that by doing it this way, I can introduce you to just the basics of skill tests and things like that on
Sure.
how we roll in here. Once this or these I'm calling them session one for each individual person. Once they're all done, I'm going to then post the links to everybody else's so that you can watch them if you would like. um, where are we? Okay, that is the link to the YouTube. So the two things that you're going to need open is that link, and then just mute the sound on YouTube so that you don't hear everything twice. And you need your character sheet open. If you don't have the link to that, I will swing that at you.
Got it. Which one is more important to be watching?
So you look, the YouTube is just going to be including a few just reference images and bits and pieces. You can have that, in a smaller screen off to the side
Okay.
if you want, and you can
Easy.
be at your character sheet the majority of the time.
Sweet.
Okie dokie. So this one is session one for your character, Quiet, which I love the name. So Nash, the Quiet End, Hollow. Um, so we start off this session at a memory of you at 8 years old. So it's the year 2272.
Righto.
And you hear from outside uh, your father calling out to you, going, Nash, get your butt out here. He goes, Hollow's Edge needs men who can shoot. Time for drills.
I will obviously go outside.
You come outside your cabin. You see ahead of you the barn that's next to the settlement. Doors are wide open. Inside, you see your father sitting there with his weapons, and he's set up some targets on some hay bales at the back of the barn. And he says, "Now, today, today is about strategy. You shoot one of these," and he holds up his rifle. He says, "You scare everything away for a mile in every direction." He goes, "Whereas if you shoot one of these," and he holds up his bow, he says, "you can continue the hunt even if you miss." And there are times for both. You need enough smarts in your head to figure out when is the right time for this and when is the right time for this? And he goes, all right, we've been through the basics before. He goes, you're firing the rifle from the bench first. Drag that over to the entrance, sandbag down, set yourself up. Now remember, you need to control your heart rate or you'll be all over the place. Breathe in, aim up, and then squeeze the trigger on your exhale. And so
Okay.
you set up your position. You get the rifle from your father. Um, you aim up. You take your first shot. Now, in this game, you will be rolling either 2d20s or more in some cases, and then you will be rolling a number of d6s for damage. So in this case, we're going to do just an agility and small guns roll, just to get you started. Now,
Is this prior to me having practical skills and combat skills?
yes, it is. So
Okay,
this
good.
is, you're 8 years old, you have stats at this point. So in this case, your agility is 9 points, your small guns is 0. You are fresh as and still learning. So therefore, 9 plus 0 equals 9 is what you're rolling against. You are trying to roll at or below that number. So
Okay,
on the sheet just below your stats, you've got the d20s. So that'll already be set to 2. So you always roll 2 d20s unless specified otherwise. And as time goes on, I'll explain to you when that changes. Click the
gotcha.
roll button. Okay, and then in the results to the right, it will show you what you've rolled on those 2 d20s.
Mine's freaking out a little bit. It's covered the number.
Okay, so just refresh the page. Sometimes the roll buttons shift a little weirdly. If you refresh, they should shift back to,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, where they should be. So in the results, can you see it should have 7 and 8, 7,8?
Yes.
Yep, perfect. So in that case, you have rolled 7 and 8 are below the target number that you were going for, which is below, in this case, 9. So that is, you have rolled 2 successes.
Okay.
Now, me as the DM, I determine what the difficulty of something is. So in D&D, you would set the DC of something to, 20, 25, 30, depending on how hard it is. For me, I'm deciding how many successes you need
Gotcha.
to be able to beat something, depending on the scenario. So in this case, you've rolled 2 successes. For this point, when you have no special skills, you have fired a clean shot and you've just barely grazed the bullseye. Uh, and your father nods to you and he's going, yes, that's not bad. He goes, we'll do a few more of them. And he repeats going through with you, giving you small critiques on how you're holding the weapon, how you're posturing yourself. And he goes, all right, good. After a little bit, he says, next, we're firing from the kneeling position. And he goes, you need to learn every scenario that can help you out when we're hunting. So, kneeling position, take one knee, brace the rifle against your shoulder. If you don't press that butt against your shoulder, it's going to kick you. He goes, okay, repeat what we did at the bench and take the shot. So he gives you another skill challenge. If you want to roll, this will be another agility check. So roll 2d20. All right, so a 17 and a 5. So the 17 is a failure. The 5 is a success. So you've got one success there. Um, so from a kneeling position, you're a little bit more unsteady than you are at the bench. And you're starting to learn. You get some good groupings, but no bullseyes or anything like that. But it's a good start for the day. And he moves you through changing your position, changing your distance from the target, changing your angle to the target to see how things can either benefit you or hinder you. And he goes, all right, lastly, I want to see standing position. He goes, this is the most difficult to aim because you have the least amount of core strength. And he goes, now, if you're out in the forest, he goes, you find a tree, or if you're in town, if you find a pole, something you can wrap your arm around, you can use that as a brace, and you lay your rifle across it. In this case, we're going to go from a full standing position without a brace. It's useful when you're looking for options for cover for yourself, and particularly when the game is shooting back at you. And he says, steps back, and he goes, all right, take your shots. So I'll get you to roll 2d20 against your agility again to see how your shots go from a standing position.
Mhm.
17 and 3, so that's another success. So much like the kneeling position, you're a little unsteady, and you're quite small. So even with a 22, it's still quite a bit of kick for you to get used to. But you slowly, as the morning progresses, you get through a few more shots. And he goes, excellent. All right. By about lunchtime, we're done with the rifle. Let's change over to the bow. And he starts repeating his instructions. And he says, whether it's a bow, whether it's a crossbow, these are quiet weapons. He goes, on a bow, never hold the draw. That's where your energy is wasted and you tense up and you can hurt yourself. He says, eye up the shot, draw and fire in one motion. He goes, all right, give it a try. And I'll get you to roll one more agility roll. 1 and 9. Okay, so a 1 is a critical success in this game when you roll it on a d20. So what that means is that no matter what your skills are, if you roll a 1, that is automatically 2 successes on that particular check. So you've rolled a 1, which is worth 2 successes. You've rolled a 9, which meets the target number. So that's 3 successes total. He's watching you, and he's only giving you tiny critiques, and he's just going, you are an absolute natural with this bow, boy. And he goes, that sits well with you. And as the afternoon progresses and you go through drill after drill after drill, and this becomes the norm for you, you wake up, you help him clean the weapons, you work away at anything that he has hunted recently, cutting up carcasses and tanning leather, making clothing, all of that type of thing becomes the normal for you. And continuously throughout the weeks, months, and years, your skills just get better and better following that. So at this point, we can say that you have received what's called a tag skill. So this is expertise in the Fallout games, in small guns. So now you have 2 points in your rank of small guns, And because this is your expertise, whenever you're rolling any kind of small guns roll, if you roll a 2 or a 1, because it's less than your tag skill, you will get 2 successes for each one in that case. So say you rolled 2d20s and you got a 2 and a 2, that would be uh, the equivalent to critical successes on each of those rolls.
Nice.
So it's good focusing on what you're an expert at, because you will build up more successes. And
Okay. So
later on down
that
the track, yep,
that doesn't add on. So when I need to roll a 9 or lower,
yep. So in this
does the 2
case,
add on to the 9 or lower,
yep.
or is
So
that just
yep.
the successes,
So
like
what
the critical successes?
what this does, it does both. So you will add the 2 onto 9 if you're rolling for an agility plus small guns. It would be the 9 plus 2, so you would then be rolling against an 11 as your target number. And any roll that is 2 or less will get you 2 successes for each.
Okay.
Um, that is auto factored in to your weapons down below. So when you have a bow or a rifle, um, which at this point I think we can add, there is the makeshift bow. So if you go to your weapons, I'm hoping you will see, yep, makeshift bow.
Yep, got it.
So that's now factored in. So whenever you're firing this, your TN, your target number, is 11 because it's automatically taking into account uh, the agility plus small guns put together.
Gotcha.
That calculates it for you. It makes combat a little bit easier when you can just look at it and go, yep, that's what it is. The different gun types have different stats that they get joined to. So small guns gets attached to agility. Melee weapons and unarmed gets attached to strength. That type of thing. So there's a bit of a mixture across the stats. That it's
What are large guns or
so
energy
big
weapons?
guns go with your endurance. It's all about being big and bulky, and so
Oh,
that's your
nice.
mini guns and rocket launchers and things like that. Um,
Cool.
Energy weapons and throwing require perception. Um, Energy weapons and explosives require perception. I've got that. So if you're unsure on any of them, if you hover your mouse over the name of the skills, it will tell you what
Oh, yeah.
the stat is as well, just to help out.
Nice.
All right, so we fast forward. So you've gone from 8 years old in 72. It's now 2280, and you are 16 years old. You've been working for the past 8 years with your father, with the rest of the settlement of Hollow's Edge. You go out hunting. You collect what you need. You scavenge at nearby settlements when needed, but the majority of what you do is very self-sufficient out here. It's a very simple life, but you can provide everything that you need. Your dad says to you at this point, he's like, "We're going hunting." He's like, "Supplies are low," and he uses a line that you've heard a million times, which is, "At Hollow's Edge, we take what we need, or we don't eat." You've heard this over and over again throughout your life, and it gets used quite commonly. So at town meetings, when the adults are talking to each other, you hear that line get used quite often as well. So that's being drummed into you continuously. At this point, it's going on sunset, and you know that it is going to be bitterly cold tonight on this side of Mount Hood as the snow is already starting to fall. It's getting towards night quite rapidly. Your dad starts collecting his gear, getting the big heavy furs on, and as you're getting ready with him, he says to you, "All right, when we're out in the forest, I need you to learn to move more quietly. We need to spot a rad stag before it spots us. We need to be upwind so it can't smell us. We need to be quiet. We need to follow everything in nature that tells us where these are." He goes, "All right, come on." And he starts trudging out into the snow. What would you like to do?
I will get on my warms, get my weapon,
Mm-hmm.
make sure I'm prepared, and follow those footsteps.
Mm-hmm. So, as you're going out into the forest, um, the areas around Mount Hood are quite. There's quite a few valleys and things like that. Very mountainous terrain. The snow is falling heavier, and it's over the next 30 minutes. It gets to the point where it is black, and then suddenly the clouds start to clear, and the moon shines down over the snow, and you can actually see somewhat clearly. Your dad stops at one point and he says, "All right, tonight I want you taking the lead. I've taught you a lot over the past few years. I want you to pick up the trail of one of these rad stags." And with that, we will roll a perception plus outdoorsman roll. So this is you trying to track a rad stag. So a rad stag is a two-headed mutated deer. In the
Nice.
in the Fallout universe, the bombs dropped, and instead of everything dying, a lot of things mutated, and lots of things ended up with either two heads or multiple arms, or things like that.
Love it. All right, so perception and outdoorsman, which
And
is 0.
outdoorsman currently 0, so your perception is 7. You're rolling against. What did we roll? What's that?
Barely. A 7 and a 15.
7 and a 15. That's enough. So you've managed to pick up a trail. There's a few spots as you're slowly moving through the snow, keeping as quiet as you can. You notice a few spots on trees where there's rubbings, where these stags have been rubbing their antlers against the trees. You pick up on dung and bits and pieces along the way, and you think that you're getting close. At this point, you really are trying to stay quiet. So if you can roll me an agility plus sneak roll, just to see how quiet you can keep yourself.
Gee. Not very quiet.
How many is that? One
Oh
success?
no. Yeah, one success.
One success. So you, for the most part, keep yourself quiet enough. You have just seen it in the distance, just a little ways ahead. And it's this one that is just feeding on little bits of plant matter that's just sticking through the snow up ahead. And your father just taps you ever so slightly on the shoulder, and he makes a hand motion forward, indicating to take the shot. So in this case, we'll be rolling a combat roll. So this is still, it's treated exactly the same as your skill checks. When you're using a weapon, this is just rolling against the target number on your weapon.
Gotcha.
So when you fire your bow, you're going against your target number of 11. Anything that is 2 or less will trigger your tag skill. So if we roll
Right.
2d20, 14 and a 5.
Success.
Yep. So you very quickly, following all the instructions that have been drilled into you over and over and over again, you sight it, you draw, and you fire all in one motion. You hit the radstag in the flank a little bit too far back, and both of its heads rear up and it bellows and it starts running off into the night, blood spraying out the side of this where you've hit it. And your dad just instantly starts to, he's crouched low, he's still trying to not make too much noise, but he's trying to run ahead, um, indicating at you to follow. What would you like to do?
Okay, I will follow.
So pretty quickly, the radstag has gone past your line of sight, down into the valley. Um, Both of you are sort of fanning out, trying to pick up some of the trail. In the dark, it's hard to see down where you are. So if you can give me a perception plus outdoorsman roll.
9 and 12.
9 and 12. Okay. So that's 2 fails in this case. It takes you a little bit and you're at a loss. You keep picking up a few spots and then it goes over some rocky bits and you're not sure where it's gone. And then suddenly you see your dad stand up and he waves you over. And he starts running. He's spotted it about 70 feet past the tree line. And you can just make out this silhouette of something that is just thrashing on the ground. And as you get closer, you can start to hear it. It's making these low moaning and barking noises as it is dying. You've managed to hit it solidly, enough to kill it, but it's not a quick death. And your father reaches it first, and you catch up just a second later, and all you hear him say is, "I'm sorry, we missed your heart." And he plunges his combat knife up to the hilt in the chest of this creature, trying to hit the heart. And it stops moving. It stops bellowing, it goes limp. He takes you by the shoulder and he says, "That was messy, Nash. Come on, help me get this over my shoulder."
Okay, I'll help him
Mm-hmm.
start carrying it back, I suppose,
Yep. So
or dressing
he's
it.
unsteady trying to lift this thing, but you help him get it up onto his shoulder. There is still a trickle of blood running down his back from where your arrow hit it. Um, and he's just trudging back through the snow, and he's like, "All right, let's get this home and get to work." And by this point, it's now, I want to say, 9 p.m., 10 p.m., somewhere around there. It's starting to get a bit later. And from the forest around you that for the most part, was actually quite quiet. You start hearing little cracks and noises of branches and twigs being broken. You hear little bits and pieces, but can't make out anything specific around you. And as you reach home, you're heading towards the barn to drop off the carcass of this rad stag. Your father heads inside, and from behind you, you hear, just on the edge of hearing, the tiniest snarling. Can you give me a perception and outdoorsman roll, please? See if you can identify where this is coming from.
18 and 3.
Okay, so your 3 will be a success on that one. So you can pinpoint just off a little past the tree line from the settlement. There is at least 2 of something out there that are snarling. And you know that this is bad. In this case, what would you like to do?
Uh, I'm gonna.
So from where you're
I think.
standing, your father wouldn't have heard anything yet. He's already
Okay.
inside the barn. He might not have noticed.
I think I'll have my bow ready,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll rush towards the door and call out to Dad.
Mm-hmm. Try to skitter in there.
There's
Yep.
yeah, there's things out there, and I will knock an arrow but not draw,
Mm-hmm.
and to. I'll focus on whatever's out there.
Yep. Yep. So you've picked up approximately where the sound was coming from, where you're expecting something. 2 seconds later, your father is just next to your shoulder. So you've got your backs to the barn, and you're both peering out into the gloom. He's got his bow at the ready, yours is at the ready, and suddenly you see 2 wolves that are, these things are mangy. They're mutated. They're missing half of their fur. It's patchy all over them, and they both come running from the tree line at a dash for the both of you. You both immediately just going into that mechanical. You've done this 1,000 times now. You draw, fire, knock another arrow. Can you give me an attack roll, please?
6 and 11.
6 and 11, so 2 successes.
Yeah.
So your first
When I
shot. Yep.
when I roll, do you want me to say 2 successes, or do you want me to say the numbers? What's
Up to
your
you.
preferred?
So you have all the information in front of you. If you're happy to calculate if it's a success or not, if you want
Yep.
me to go through that with you, I'm fine with that too. I've got a bit of
All
a
good.
mixture of both types of people in our group, so I'm fine with helping out
Sure.
anytime you need. So in this case, your 2 successes, you hit the first wolf dead on. It goes clean through between the eyes on this one. Your father is equally a good shot, and both of the wolves are barely even halfway to you, and they both drop dead. And he just
Can
breathes
I
out for a second. Yep.
can I see or hear anything else around?
Can you give me a perception plus outdoorsman roll?
2 fails.
2 fails. Okay. At this point, you can't hear anything further. It's the normal sounds of the night. There's the slight
Gotcha.
patter of snow falling, but nothing further out of the ordinary.
I will turn to Dad and say, free meat.
That it is. Let's get it inside. And the two of you spend a bit of time. You drag these two carcasses inside. Adds to your haul for the night. You close up the barn and you get to work and you strip these things down to the bones. You save every last bit of what you can get from the whole lot. You skin them. You use the offal to feed the dogs in the settlement. You feed them, keep the bones for them as well. You've got the leathers for making your own gear, and the meat that you've collected will keep you guys well fed for a long time. And so he pats you on
Excellent.
the back and he goes, that's what I want to see. That's what we do here. He goes, good man. And then after all that work's finished, he's like, all right, let's get some sleep. You head back to the cabin and bed down for the night. And with that, you've earned your sneak slash lockpick tag skill. So what that means is that you are now proficient with being able to sneak. It also gets applied to things like lockpicking or sleight of hand. It's a generalized skill set there. And you've also earned a couple of perks, another perk. So, first off, let me just unlock that for you. From your shooting earlier, you received the steady aim perk. And from your work tonight, you have learned the ghost perk. So on your right hand side, if you click on the drop down for your practical perks, you'll be able to select Ghost, will be there now.
Nice.
And in your combat perks, you've got Steady Aim. So we're not going to do necessarily a huge amount of combat tonight, and we're glossing over some of the parts of it, but when we start getting into minor and major actions, one of your minors is to aim. When you have steady aim, you can roll both of your re-roll both of your d20s whenever you're shooting. So it's considered the equivalent of you've spent that extra couple of seconds instead of moving, you have lined up that shot a little bit better.
Okay. So how
Um,
do I use a perk? So would it take a turn? Would it take movement?
no,
Would it
so
be
they
something that
just
I can apply on everything?
they just apply. They'll have their conditions in the description. So in this case, whenever you use the aim minor action,
Yep.
um, the normal functions of aim is that you re-roll one of your d20s. So if you got a success and a fail, you could re-roll the fail and try to get another success. In this case, because you've got steady aim, instead of you re-rolling one of them, you can re-roll two.
Okay. Does that mean you could get up to 3 successes or four
You could get
successes?
you could get up to four successes. So if you
Okay.
rolled a one or a two on one die, you've got two successes there, and you've got a failure on the other one. You could re-roll. If you've got two
And roll
fails, you
two.
get it's essentially it's a second roll that
Okay.
you're able to do to
So
try to get the shot right.
if I get say I get a success and a failure,
Mm-hmm.
when I re-roll the 2D, do I re-roll the 2d20 on that failure or only 1d20?
So, because of how I've done it recording the results, it's only recording the most recent. So, um, as an example, if you uh, using your perk, you've got your steady aim, you re-roll you're only wanting to re-roll one, just remember that, okay, I got one success the first time I rolled.
Yep.
The second time I rolled, I managed to pick up another success or another two successes.
Okay, got you. So essentially, you're getting if you get one success and then you re-roll, you're essentially getting three rolls,
Uh, yeah. So
like
you're,
three options
yeah,
for success.
yeah. So
All right, cool,
you're able to more accurately hit a target. Basically, is
nice.
what it's going for there. And Ghost is all about moving in darkness. So whenever you're rolling an agility and sneak skill test, if you are in darkness um, of any sort, then you are able to roll an extra d20. So in that case, you would be able to get up to six uh, successes potentially.
Got you. Wait. Oh, because wait, is that because shooting uses my agility?
So with Ghost, it's specifically on agility plus sneak skills in darkness.
Okay.
So it's when you're trying to creep from one place to another, or when you're standing in a dark alcove trying to pick a lock on a door, or things like that. It's for that type of thing. If you, because you're rolling three d20s, if you roll a one, um, that's
Oh, I see
automatically
what you
two
mean.
successes on that die. So
Gotcha,
if you,
gotcha. Yeah.
yeah, it can go up by two potential successes per d20 that you roll.
Nice.
Um, so that's those sorted out. We've got your skills sorted out. Excellent. Um, so we now move forward a little bit further. Uh, we're going forward another 4 years now. So you're 20 years old. It's the year 2284. And the last 4 years for you, your father, and for the rest of the settlement of Hollow's Edge, it's been tough. Game is getting harder to find, and you've noticed localized around Mount Hood, which is this giant snow capped mountain east of Portland, that things like radstorms and snowstorms have been getting even worse. So radstorms are where these like radioactive clouds come through. They roll up very quickly, and the storm rolls through usually in about 5 to 10 minutes. But in that time, it can irradiate people. It can make you inhale toxic and radioactive gas. When lightning strikes, it can do some serious damage to the surrounding plants and animals, bombarding them with radiation, basically. And these have been getting really bad over the past 4 years. And it seems like some of these storms almost swirl around the mountain. They're almost localized in this area, whereas they're not so intense as they roll down into the plains further west. And you've found yourselves roaming further and further out from the settlement just to be able to find enough food to keep everybody fed. You've started, as you get onto the roads, you're hitting new targets. Uh, as a group, you're going out and you're hitting caravans. You're finding random wanderers and you're killing them to take what they have to add to the resources of the settlement. Um, Nobody that comes across your group survives to be able to tell of it, and no trace is left. You break down everything and take it with you. And it's starting to get to the point where it's almost not sustainable anymore. You're sitting in your cabin talking to your father, who is getting older, and he's having a harder time with it. You've spent the morning discussing what you would like to do to proceed. He says, I spent my time in the city in my youth. You know what you're doing. You could do very well for yourself out there. He, he says you could get a job. You could join a raider gang. You could join a caravan. You could become a guard. He goes, I think it's time that you need to go out there and take what the wasteland owes you. What do you think?
Excommunicado gently. I like it. Uh, I think if I find my success, I can bring it back and improve the settlement.
And he just smiles at that and he says, look, we'll cover ourselves back here. A lot of the young ones have left already. Us old folk will keep the fires going. You spend some time and focus on you. Now, when you get out there, you're going to need money. And he slides the last of his savings, which you've never really had a need for money. Everything you've done up to this point has been trade with your own settlement. Um, he slides this little pouch with 20 bottle caps in it over to you, and he says, take your bow, take that, make something out of it.
In that case, I'll take it,
Mhm.
give him a nod, then I will start packing and get ready.
Yep, practical to a T. So you can add 20 caps to your inventory. In the bottom left section is your inventory. Top right of that is where you can record your caps.
Got it.
Yep.
So
So
is a bottle cap's money?
yes. So in the Fallout
Nice.
universe, bottle caps are used uh, over most of the US. In some areas in the Midwest, they use ring pulls from cans. Uh, so it's basically the only places that use actual money are um, down south. There's an area called the New California Republic, which is like this massive group of civilization that's trying to bring back old world America. And they've got a standing army of 30,000. They've got a population of almost a million because this is now 200 years after the bombs fell. And they're back at the point where they've at least got like World War II level tech that they're able to produce again. But that's probably the closest place that actually uses real money. They have started producing it again. Everywhere else, caps will get you what you need.
No denominations?
No,
No
it
gold,
is
silver, bronze tiers or anything?
nope. Nothing like
Excellent.
that, which I've always appreciated because
Yeah, straightforward is much easier to keep track of.
it's just so highly unnecessary. It's like, when was the last time you spent copper on something?
Oh man.
Um, I did, as a sidebar, I did like somebody's idea for D&D currencies, the fact that nobody uses Electrum, and he made it in his campaign that Electrum is what the black market uses. So
Nice.
if you get caught with Electrum on you in a lot of civilized places, you can get charged for it. But if you go into the shady parts of town, you can spend Electrum instead of having to spend your gold. I thought that was an interesting way of utilizing it.
That's very good. I
Mm.
like that.
All right, so you have packed up, you've left, you've headed west into the city, and from uh, Mount Hood, it's pretty easy to tell where Portland is because you can see from the highest points the ruins of the suburbs of Portland from where you are. It's about 10 kilometers or so to travel. You start heading west in, and over the next couple of months, you meet up with some groups in the ruins of the city. You start running a few different jobs, but you've met up with this small time group of raiders, and they've taken you on because you can fire a bow like nobody that they've seen. You can shoot a gun like amazingly compared to what these guys can, and you found that working with this group, hitting caravans is easy work. You stay well fed. Traders are scared of you and quite often will abandon their caravan when they see your group coming. The chems and the booze also flow. So, for a young man, partying's pretty common. But tonight you've decided that you're on guard duty. So everybody is partying downstairs. They are getting completely wrecked after the last hit on a caravan. You're sitting on the second floor balcony, keeping watch, because as much as you're in the city, it's not safe, and people can come through at any time. The rest of the crew's making the usual ruckus. That's fine. And after a few hours, you've been pacing backwards and forwards. You haven't noticed anything. It's been a pretty quiet night. And then you hear just around the corner in the alleyway, the back door of the shop that is currently your hideout. You just faintly make out the sound of the click of the back door being closed. You just ever so slightly take a look around into the alleyway and you see the bright pink mohawk of one of the raiders named Angel, and she's hasn't noticed you. She's sneaking out of the back door and down the side alley. She looks a bit suspicious. What would you do?
Uh, is there anyone close by me in my raiding party?
Downstairs, inside, there's a couple of people that are still going, but it sounds like most people have passed out at this point.
Is Are people on the way to following, as in the exit where Angel left?
You haven't noticed anybody else anywhere nearby.
Right. I'm going to follow
Okay.
sneakily,
Mm-hmm.
quietly.
All right. So first thing, if you would like to give me an agility plus sneak roll, um, as you make
Oh
your way
wait, I need
down
to roll
into the alley,
three.
you will be able to roll 3 in this case, because you will be in a dark alley.
So I'll just add one. So 13, a 4, and a 16. So one success.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, yeah,
Yep.
one
Yep.
success.
So that'll be 1 success. Okay. You flick yourself over the balcony, drop down into the alley fairly quietly. She hasn't seemed to have noticed you yet. Um, she speeds up though and starts at a jog once she's far enough away. Um, Down the alley, she hasn't looked back at any point. And then she ducks around a corner uh, out onto the street on the block behind. So as you follow down this alleyway, you get to the end, um, and you can't see her as you come around the corner. Can you give me a perception roll, please?
Okay. Well, not three. Do you want me to re-roll the two? Or just take the first two results?
Just take the first two results, that's fine. So that's
Righto, one
one
success.
success. So you pick up on her trail. Um, you look, and there is just fluttering in another alleyway across the street. There is something that she's brushed past, and it's just waving backwards and forwards, a sign of some sort. Um, so you know where to follow her. Um, if you can give me an, are you going to try to keep up with her pace, or are you going to just move at
Uh,
your own pace?
I'll I'll keep up as much as I can, but I
Mm-hmm.
will go carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any flat top roofs near the alleys, or is it all?
Look, let me roll on that. Give me a sec. Yes, there is. So one of the beside where you saw this sign swinging, running alongside the alleyway, most of this building has actually caved in, and it looks fairly. Um, it's like big pieces of concrete from the ceiling have fallen down, so it would be easy to climb up and move along. So you'll be one story up from where she is. This was
I would love
probably
to do that.
originally a 3 story or 4 story building.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah, I'll climb up if I
mhm,
can and follow from height.
yep. So you move along. She gets to the end of the alleyway. You can just see the top of her mohawk from where you are. So you're able to see her in the distance, but she's moving quite quickly. And then she stops at the end of the alleyway, and she flicks around, and she's looking 360 around her. She's something's got her spooked all of a sudden. Can you give me another agility plus sneak roll?
A crit success, a success, and a crit fail. Do we have crit fails?
Yes, we have crit fails.
Oh, that's
Now,
a pity.
the way that it works in the base game for this is that if you roll a 20, I get to bank that fail and
Oh,
use it against you at some point. I choose not to play it that way because I think the DM is not against the players. I disagree with that mindset. Um, if it makes sense for there to be a critical failure of some sort, I've had characters where they've had broken arms or things like that that have occurred due to them. But there's other times where I would simply count it as a failure. So if you got
gotcha.
a sufficient number of successes to counteract it, I'm saying that's fine. Um,
Okay, cool.
in this case, she looks around. You think that she looks straight at at you. You duck back around, and then a second later, she just coughs, sniffs, and then slowly makes her way across the next road. She doesn't seem worried, so she obviously didn't notice whatever bit of you moved up in the darkness at that point. You see her move across the road, go straight into the ruins of a building that has there's no glass left in the windows, so a lot of the windows to this place are just holes in the walls, and it's quite run down. She goes a long way in, and then she stops, and she is just out of sight. She's moved into a spot where you can't see from your position uh, where exactly she's gone. There's part of the wall in the way, so you would have to either drop down from the roof that you're on, or perhaps move to a different position entirely. What would you like to do?
I think I'll move to a different position that gives me line of sight, but
Mm-hmm.
don't think I quite want to go down onto the road yet.
No, fair. Um, all right. If you can give me an agility plus sneak roll to move.
2 successes.
Two successes. Nobody notices. You see one spot where there is part of a building that's collapsed sideways against another one. And there's this big beam, really big metal beam that's sticking out between the two buildings. You can move out, and you're basically perched Assassin's Creed style on this beam, and you've got a perfect view from the side of this building, um, seeing straight through. And what you see is Angel having a meeting with a soldier. He's just handed her a big satchel of something. The two of them both shake hands. What would you like to do?
Okay, do I recognize the soldier's uniform or do I know anything about
You've never
or
seen anything, any of this uniform before. Um, you think that it could be New California Republic, an NCR soldier, but that's just based on you've heard whispers and rumors over the past couple of months of some of them have been seen in this area.
okay. What does Angel do at this point?
So Angel puts the satchel, uh, attaches it to the back of her belt, gives the soldier a wave, and then starts to stroll out of the building. She's very nonchalant at this point.
Okay, is she heading back towards the base area?
If you sit and watch for a bit, so 30 seconds after she comes out of the building, she immediately turns right and she heads down the road. She's not going back to your hideout at all.
Okay. Uh, I think at this point, I'd like to follow out of sight enough where I'm sure that I'm not going to be seen or heard by
Mm-hmm.
the
So,
soldier.
yep.
Um,
So,
and then
yep.
I'm going to knock an arrow and aim.
Okay, you aiming for the soldier
No,
or for Angel?
for Angel.
For Angel? Yep. Okay. So, uh, you head back down the beam, get onto the original roof that you were on, move right up to the corner, and you've got a bit of concrete sticking up, an old bit of wall that's covering your view of the where the soldier was, but you can see Angel heading down this road. You aim. Are you firing?
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the ties that I have with the group that I'm with, is
Uh,
it? purely business? Do I have friends in there? Have I met the actor guy yet, etc.?
You have okay. So you have not met Christopher Booth Lee yet, Rob's character. We played through his scenario last night, so that was cool. Um, you will meet him at the end, and it will be extremely clear on that one. So he's
Okay.
not part of this raider gang. These guys are a bunch of yahoos where a lot of them are older than you, and yet they act like they're 16. They
Ah,
You carry yourself with a bit more um, formal aplomb and discipline. They will be reckless in what they're doing, and you found it hard to really become friends. You can get what you want by hanging with them, but they're more a means to an end.
okay. Would I know if it would be easy for me to find a different group?
Yeah. Look, you've stopped in at a lot of little settlements that are scattered throughout the Portland wasteland. Um, you could probably find another group fairly easily.
Gotcha. Uh, I don't take what you need. I'm going to take the shot.
You're going to take the shot. Excellent. So, in which case, if you can roll an attack roll for me,
4 and 17.
4 and
And
17.
so,
Yep, that's a success. Uh,
do I re-roll the failure?
if you would like to improve your number of successes, yes, you can re-roll the failure.
Do I roll the single dice for the failure, or do I roll two dice?
In this case, you would just be choosing to re-roll the second die. Yep.
Got you.
Okay, so
Okay,
that
so
gives
that turned it
us,
into a
yep, so
success.
two successes. So clean and true, you land it straight through her back. You hit her heart, and she just drops. There is not a sound escaping from her mouth, and she's just lying face down in the street with an arrow sticking out of her back.
All right, I will check around to make sure no one heard or saw, and I
Mm-hmm.
will uh, go forward and I'll
Mm-hmm.
retrieve my arrow.
Okay. Yep.
I will, if I can, try and move the body into a hidden-ish area, so
mm-hmm.
not on the middle of the street.
Yep. Um, so she's. I'm gonna say that she's about three buildings down from the one that she exited. So it's fairly easy for you to make your way through the ruins, staying well away from where the soldier was, and then circling around to her body. Um, you look inside one of the buildings here, and it's just collapsed ruins. There's plenty of little nooks and crannies that look like they would be suitable to be able to drag her into.
Excellent.
So you drag her body in, and you tuck it in
Um,
underneath this section of collapsed floor. And from how you've been able to hide it, nobody's going to find her body anytime soon.
I will look in that little baggie that she put on her
Mm-hmm.
waist, and I feel like it's not going to be a good idea for me to go back to my crew.
Mm-hmm.
So considering I only have what I have with me,
Yep.
I will take whatever is useful in this world.
Okay, so uh, what she has on her is four rifle rounds. So in your ammo, you'll have rifle ammo.
Yep.
She has a um, in the satchel that she was handed. You open it up, and what you see is there is a heap of caps, and later on, when you sit down and actually count them out, there's about 250 caps in there.
Jesus.
So
Oh,
she's just been paid a
our team was
handsome
gonna
sum.
die.
She has also been given a very small metal ingot of some sort that is stamped in the top of the ingot. And you can add this to your notes on the right. It's not an actual item that I'm going to force you to take up your inventory. Um,
Okay.
so it's this small silvery coloured metal ingot of some sort. Um, you're not sure what metal it is. Stamped into the top is just the numbers 311.
Oh, Control Z. I forgot this is XL and it doesn't let me alt tab nicely.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Um, this is this is what I use well, so this is what I created the character sheets in. But now, like Elfman's working with ChatGPT to produce an entire website for Star Trek RPG, um,
Oh, that's cool.
and it's becoming the most gargantuan thing in the world. But yes, I use Google Sheets. It does the job. It's not great, but it does it. Um, all right. At the bottom of the bag is a wad of about 5 notes, and it is uh, what it has is "In God We Trust" written on these notes, but the president that is on them uh, has the notes underneath saying his prime inauguration, President Kimball, and it's just a man's face that's been put there. So it's not. You've seen pre-war money before, which is ratty and um, it's the green US notes. This is not that. This is new, clean, crisp, perfect bills, and they are $100 bills from the new California Republic. So you can add those to your notes as well. As you finish collecting these bits and pieces, a couple of blocks away, a flare is fired up into the air and illuminates the entire area for 100 meters in every direction. This red glow covering everywhere. And you hear this massive burst of gunfire break out, and then it lasts for maybe 30 seconds, and then silence for a few seconds. And then you hear a whoosh, whoosh, and then nothing for a bit. As you step back out into the street, you look up and you can see smoke rising from where your hideout was.
Good call. I think I will not go out to the street, but I will scamper through or over or under the ruined building
Mm-hmm. So
and take alleyways away from
just trying to get away
the
from this.
flare.
Yep.
Yeah.
um, all right. So you do what your father's taught you best. It's sometimes the best way to move quickly is to move slowly. You pick moving from shadow to shadow when you've got to cross a street. You spend your time listening and making sure, and over the next hour or so, you get well away from that area. Um, you don't encounter anything further throughout the night, and you do what you've done before. You start living rough for a little bit, and we then fast forward over the next few months. Your old crew is toast. That's fine, is what it is. Angel obviously sold you out, and you have joined varying groups. You've spent time with different raider groups. Some of them have been wiped out. Some of them have wasted your time, where you're obviously the most skilled person there, and the rest of the guys that you run with are leeching off you, so you've walked away from them. You spent a stint as a caravan guard, where you found out about this group called the Railway Alliance. So they had you wearing this heavy black armor while you would escort caravans as they cart goods from one settlement to another. Um, the pay was shit, and you got attacked constantly. So you didn't like that. In one place, you even took on a role as a shit shoveler. That was the 2 days of hell in your eyes. But on the plus side, you've spent that time really feeling out and understanding the ins and outs of the wastes around Portland. You've travelled backwards and forwards across the city. You've uh, learned a lot about what keeps the society working and what can keep you going. So at this point, you have learned enough about the outdoorsman skill. Now, that can sometimes be referred to as survival skill. So anytime you're butchering meat, if you are trying to figure out if mushrooms are poisonous or not, if you're trying to do things like that, it's your general knowledge, which you've had a decent amount of previously, but this is you've now started to really reinforce it. Um, you have been quite specific about not spending caps when you can. You take what you need. Um, you only spend caps when you absolutely have to. So you've managed to stretch your money out quite a long way. What you have also earned is the Wasteland Navigator perk. So whenever you are navigating uh, in the Portland Wasteland, you automatically add one success to whatever it is that you roll. So
Nice.
anytime you're for the purposes of navigation. Um, so with your perks, and I'll be explaining this to the group as well. The way that I'm doing it this time around, these are basically feats in D&D.
Yeah,
Most of them are a bit more small scale. Um, you will have the ability during your downtime to be able to teach other characters perks that you have. So if you notice somebody using a particular perk that you would like to learn, you could ask them to teach you. And over a period of time, I will allow you to learn that perk.
got you.
Yep. And vice versa, you will be able to spend downtime teaching your perks to people if you want a group that can utilize some good things there.
Okay. Can I have, say I had three perks
Mm-hmm.
and then I
You,
wanted to learn more.
yep.
when I learn it, do I lose the ability to use one of the
No.
other perks, or do
So
I like bank it?
you you have a knowledge of all of these perks. The three of each type are what are currently active. So think of it in games like a
Like preparing
loadout.
spells?
Yeah, preparing spells or having a
Yeah.
loadout or that kind of thing. Like it's a case of you can learn all the perks in the game if we take this campaign that far. Um,
Yeah.
it's just a case of you can switch them out. You can only switch them out when you're in a safe place and you have time to do so. I'm saying basically long rest kind of rules.
Yeah.
Um, and like learning new ones. For you to learn new combat perks, you might need to see an enemy using one. Um, or you might need to visit a combat trainer of some sort, and they might have ones that are available that you can learn. Um,
Okay.
so that you might be able to, pay for a class or convince them to train you or something like that.
And is it three total perks or three practical and three
Three
combat?
practical and three combat. I
Nice.
I wanted to keep them separate this time around because I don't want people to have to choose between do I take the chef perk or do I take the my gun makes bigger holes perk? Like that's what I dislike about feats in D&D because it's one or the other. Um,
Yeah.
so I've tried to keep that separate. So there's some practical perks that might not really do all that much, but that's fine if that's the flavor that you're wanting to go for.
Good.
Um, all right, so today you find yourself you have gone through umpteen small settlements. You've worked a lot of jobs over the past few months, and you have made your way to the capital of the Portland wasteland, to a place called the Terminal. Now, the Terminal is a big walled city that was built after the war, and this group called the Railway Alliance run it. Now, you worked for them protecting one of their caravans briefly, and you know that it's a place that you can come back to look for more work. The raider groups that you have picked up work with have been subpar at this point. Um, but tonight you have tried your luck. You've come back to the city again. You, when you come through the entrance of the terminal, you get patted down for weapons. They take any weapons from you. When you leave the terminal, you get your weapons back. So they keep them in a locker specifically for you. So when you're inside the city, you are unarmed. Just to keep that in mind. I have,
Gotcha.
I am happy for you to keep your makeshift bow in that slot. I don't expect you to remove it and then add it back in every single time we go in and out. Just be aware that when you're in this city, you don't have a weapon currently.
Okay. Is a walking stick like a walking staff? Is that considered a weapon?
This will this will depend on your
If I'm carrying a
conversations.
string?
It's the fact that there's still things like steak knives to be able to eat food at the tavern.
Mm.
Um, you can improvise some stuff. When it comes to a walking stick, you might just need to really convince the people at the front gate. Um, so you've gotten kind of used to it. It's a little unsettling not having your weapons on you, but you're starting to get used to the ebb and flow. It's a case of, okay, while I'm here, that's what I've got to deal with. When I get work where I leave the terminal, I pick my weapons up on the way out.
Righto.
Um, so over the past few weeks, this place, the Sour Mole, has become your local haunt. You come here for a drink, you try to relax. Um, the locals have taught you that anybody that's looking for work around here simply takes their hat, puts it down upside down in front of them, sitting at the bar. That indicates that you're looking for work. You don't have to advertise, you don't have to ask around. There are thousands of people in this city at any given time. So it's a very quick way of you being able to pick up jobs and bits and pieces. Uh, Tonight, this afternoon, there is the usual at the bar. There's Jazzy Lily, is this bar woman who is dressed in full raider gear. She's got the big pauldrons, the spikes. She's got a leather helmet that's got a mohawk of spikes sticking out of it. The thing that you notice most, though, about Jazzy Lily running this place is the fact that even though she looks terrifying in her get-up, every single part of it is covered in purple sequins. So she glitters and sparkles in the light as she moves around serving people's drinks. And
They are the most terrifying.
you've been knocking back drink after drink, and after a little bit, this small-framed man in a purple trench coat approaches you. You've got your hat down on the bench in front of you, and he sidles up next to you, faces you, hand out to shake, and he's got this big fake smile on his face.
Car salesman. I see. I'll just look at him.
Mm-hmm.
How can I help?
He goes, "Excuse me, sir. Are you possibly interested in And he looks around a little bit and he says, uh, bodyguard work?"
That depends entirely on the pay
And he
and who's chasing you.
he takes out a big handful of caps and he says, 40 caps, drops it into your hat, and he says, my name is Christopher Booth Lee. Charmed, I'm sure. I am an actor. He says, 40 caps a day? Does that sound reasonable to you?
Uh, I take it this does sound reasonable to me. I'm not quite sure on the going rate.
So this is pretty good money, considering your entire raider group got sold out for, at that rate, about 5 days' pay.
Hmm.
Um, that's not too bad.
Yeah, no, that's not too bad.
And he
I don't really like to barter either.
excellent, and his smile gets even wider. And he says, you have to understand, I've been having certain issues with this individual. And he looks around again. He's like, um, come with me. Let's talk somewhere privately.
Okay.
And
Are they
he,
inside or outside the town, this individual?
and
Because I'm significantly more effective outside the town.
correct. He just holds a finger up to his lips just to shush you, and he just goes, just come downstairs with me. And he leads you to uh, the staircase that leads down. There is a big metal uh, bunker door. It's got the radiation symbol on it. He takes a key out, unlocks it, starts spinning the wheel, opens up this door, ushers you in, and this is leading to an old pre-war bunker that was built below where this town was, underneath the Sour Mole. and he is all smiles. And he,
I'm just gonna secure my pouches.
yeah,
Make sure they're all tucked away where no fingers can reach.
fair. he he closes the door behind you, but doesn't like engage it. Just closes it enough, and you are
Hmm.
standing in this massive theater. Uh, there's the stage down at the end. There is so you're talking to Mr. Christopher Boothly. Uh,
Hmm.
so
In the theater.
this is the theater that you're standing in underground. So on a common night, this theater would have most of the population of the terminal watching plays, making good money. Currently, there's a few stagehands right down the back working away at cleaning and things like that. But he leans into you and he goes, now, this man, he comes in, he ruins my plays every night this week. You can't miss him. Wears a big, large stovepipe hat. Can't miss him, even in this place where everybody looks their own way. He says, now 40 caps, that gets you for a day. He goes, for another 10 caps, I would like you to remove this man. I am procuring a weapon for you to use. What I need from you is to sit in the stands at my show tonight when I put on the big spectacular. And when the big song and dance happens at about 30 minutes in, you shoot him in the back of the head. Can you do that?
It's Do you know where he sits?
He will be in one of the uh, VIP sections, up, raised up on the left of the stage. He goes, I will make sure to have you seated right behind him to make things easy.
What
Can
sort of trouble is he causing you?
Oh, the things that he says. He comes in, he interrupts my show, he screams these obscenities, and it's becoming quite trying on me completing my plays. I mean, security comes and escorts him out, but he comes back the next night and the next night, and I don't want him to come back again.
Do we do contracts in this world?
Contracts? I think
Work contracts,
it's
voice contract.
yeah, I think it's probably going to be more of a handshake, but yes, he would have an
Hmm.
agreement with you. What would you like to do?
10 caps is 10 caps.
And he says, "Excellent. I will have uh, the prop pistol brought to you just as soon as it's available. Um, and then tonight, you get to watch our wonderful play for free. You sort this one little thing out for me, and then that will be that." He takes another 10 caps out, hands them to you. He goes, now I never caught your name.
Nash Hollow.
Nash. Charmed, I'm sure. And he shakes your hand as he hands over the extra 10 caps. So in total, you can add 50 caps to your kitty. And with that, he goes, "Well, I've got a few things to do to get ready. I will deliver that prop to you as soon as it's ready. In the meantime, uh, I am paying you for your time, so if you could just grab a broom and clean up around here a little."
You're paying me as a bodyguard.
He just says, "Yes, smart man you are. Excellent. Wait here." And
I don't. I follow him.
you follow him. Okay.
I'm a bodyguard. I take my work seriously.
All right. So he, are you following him directly, making it known that you're
Yes.
following him? Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yep.
Like,
So he goes out. He goes, "Okay, well, if you insist." Um, and he heads up to uh, the gun store down the road. Now there's Natty's Guns is plastered on this uh, big billboard over the top. Looks handwritten, the whole thing, so it's all quite terrible. Um, the two of you step inside, and as soon as you, uh, let me just roll to see whether you've actually been in here or not. Absolutely not. You have not stepped foot in this place over the past few weeks. Uh, you step inside, and the first thing that you notice is four ceiling mounted machine gun turrets, all aim at you and
nice.
track you as you move through this place. So ahead of you, you've stepped through the front door. Surrounding the front door in a U shape is a cage that goes floor to ceiling. So you can't even reach any of the benches. There is a line of weapons on every single wall. And Natty starts having a bit of a go at Mr. Lee. And he says, Booth, what the hell are you doing in here? What do you want? And Booth goes on and he's like, well, I need to procure a couple of things. Now, I'm looking for a really good prop pistol. And Natty's going, what do you mean a prop pistol? And Booth goes, well, it's a fake. I need a fake to use on stage in an upcoming play. What can you offer me? And he's like, Natty is scratching his head for a little bit, and he's like, look, there's the old cap guns. I can get you a cap gun if you want. And he goes out the back and he digs through some boxes and bits and pieces, and he haggles with Booth for a bit. Booth buys this cap gun, and he goes, yes, well, on top of that, I do need a pistol as well, for myself, for, protection purposes. What can you offer? And he goes through the selection, and Booth finally lands on a very basic, shitty pipe pistol. It's the type of weapon that you look at and you probably wouldn't even bother with. It's not much better than a cap gun. The little hatch opens and he hands over the cap gun, and then it closes. And he says to Booth, he's like, "Your pistol will be dropped off at the entrance. Um, Give us a couple of minutes. I'll have a runner run it over now."
I look at Booth and say, "Are you planning on me dying?"
Booth just takes one look at you and he's just like, "Just give me a minute," through gritted teeth. Not in here. So he pays his money. Are you doing anything in Natty's Guns?
I will peruse the wares.
Hmm.
Are
So,
there anything
so
of my style in here?
what you see on the walls are um, mainly guns. Um, there is a couple of bows at the back, but like your handmade bow is in better condition than the ones that you
Hmm.
see here. There is a few rifles and bits and pieces. Um, if you're looking for something of that style, the basic pipe rifle would be your starting point. Um, he's got a little bit of everything, but a lot of it is fairly junk quality by your standards. You're used to weapons that have been maintained and cleaned and kept beautiful and perfect, and these are not really that.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I'm happy to stick with my bow for now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, is there? Hmm. So we have, what are they called? You know, the boosts or whatever the thingies are.
Um,
Um, like stuff that helps you see at night and
the chems, yes.
yeah. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
chems. Are there any? Are they potions that you drink? Are they
Some of them.
injectables like an EpiPen? Are they?
It's a little of both. It depends on what it is. So to start you out, when it comes to chems, you've got the standards for healing. So you know about the basic healing salves and poultices that you can whip together yourself out of plants and bits and pieces. There's healing powders that you inhale that heal the body. Um, you then move up into your pre-war stuff. So you've got stim packs, which are like hypo sprays from Star Trek.
Okay.
It just
Is there anything? So these are all positive with negative effects. Are there anything?
mhm.
Is there anything that is purely negative?
So you're looking for poisons of some sort.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like quick injectables,
Um,
EpiPen style or little syringe style
mhm. Okay, let
heart
me
stoppers.
roll and see what we can find. So you spend a bit of time going through the city, and the way that this city is built is it's like the favelas in Brazil, like shanty built on top of a shanty built on top of a shanty, um, just repeating everywhere. So sometimes finding places can be a little bit hard. You come across a shaman who makes a lot of the natural healing things. Um, you come across some of the more traditional doctors and surgeons who sell your stim packs and that type of thing. You don't come across anybody who has anything negative. Um, every time you've asked any of the shopkeepers, it's been made clear that it's frowned upon within the terminal to be selling anything like that. Um,
Fair enough.
so you might be able to find somebody out in the wastes more so, but not in the city here.
No, not by tonight, in other words.
All right. So if you're then walking with Booth, um,
Hmm.
so oh, once you've done perusing the other stores, he's like, "All right, we need to go collect this," and he goes to the front gate and he spends a little bit of time chatting up somebody that you find out her name is Maggie. She's one of the ones on shift who will pat you down as the guards watch when you come in to make sure that you're not carrying any weapons. Um, and Booth convinces her to have his pistol collected and a couple of rounds. Um, those those come along fine. The hatch in the wall opens. Maggie grabs out the pistol and the couple of pistol shots, hands them over to Booth, and Booth is showing off this cap gun. And he's like, I've got these wonderful props. I'm going to go practice out in the ruins of the city for a little bit, and make sure I know how a gun should feel before doing one of our plays that we're practicing. And Maggie is getting very excited. Um, Eventually, she tears her eyes off Booth, and she looks at you, and she's like, uh, yes, Mr. Nash, your bow. I'll collect that for you." She goes over to the hatch in the wall, speaks through a little grill, and the girl behind the glass goes to uh, your container, takes the bow out, and then hands that through. So you've received back your makeshift bow. And Booth is making this big song and dance about having these two guns that he's using in an upcoming play, and talking a lot of shit the entire time. So he leads you out into the ruins for a bit. He looks at you and he says, "I've come up with my way of getting the real pistol into the town. You will not be stuck with a cap gun. I have spent enough time speaking to Maggie and confusing her poor little head. She's quite smitten with me. And when we go back in, you will simply hand over your weapons. You will enter as normal, and then wait for me. I will convince them to allow me in with the two pistols. Just you see." And you're starting to think this guy can talk his way around anything. Um, all bullshit all the time that spouts from his mouth. And you stay out for about an hour, just wandering around the ruins, not finding anything um, terribly interesting. He goes picking through some ruins in an old apartment and stuffing around with something, but you're mainly focusing on what's around you. Um, you then head back to the entrance, and what would you like to do? Will you do as he instructs, or?
Yeah, I'll do as he instructs. I'll
Mm-hmm.
hand over my bow.
Yep. So you go to Maggie, you hand over your bow. The guards are not particularly interested because you're being quite compliant. Um, you then proceed in, wait for him. He makes a big song and dance talking about how uh, he used up all of the ammo. This one is just being used as a prop now. It doesn't do anything. And talking extremely quickly so that Maggie doesn't take any notice. Um, she's confused enough and smitten enough with him. He offers her tickets to the front row of the performance tonight, that she decides to wave him through. Boris cuts in and he says, "The skinny man needs to be looked at." So Boris is this big, giant, uh, brick shithouse of a man, um, decked out in the full black armor of the Railway Alliance, and he will not allow Booth through. And Booth just holds one finger up to you, leaning around this giant guy, and he's just like 1 second kind of thing. And he's like, of course you can frisk me as much as you want. And Maggie goes, all right, and she pats him down, and she's like, he's telling the truth. He's holding the cap gun in one hand, he's holding the pistol in the other. Um, convince them that they're both props. The ammunition he had dropped into one of his boots. So Maggie doesn't notice it. She's just kind of rushing through because Boris has demanded it. And she's like, he's clean. And Boris is like, Maggie's like, stop being a dick, just let him through. So Boris goes, yep, all right, fine, come through. And as you walk in, he pockets both of the guns in his trench coat, leads you into the sour mole, down the steps into the theatre. He leads you to the back of the theatre, behind the scenes, to his area where he gets ready for each performance. And he goes, you see, easy as that. And he takes the two pistol ammo out of his boot, hands you the pipe pistol, hands you the ammo, and says, now you have what you need. Now, I've arranged for your seat. Make sure that you're sitting there. Remember, about 30 minutes in, there'll be a big ruckus. But the important thing is, if anything happens, just shoot the bastard. But after that, your job is to protect me. Okay?
Right. What do you mean if anything happens?
Things always seem to happen to me. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. And you realize that over the years he has slept with almost every woman and some of the men in this town. So there's a lot of very annoyed partners around the place. And he's got a lot of people with grudges against him.
Gotcha. Um, I'd like to go up and case the private booth.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So he uh, points you up where it is, and he's like, "Yes, you'll be sitting second row back, up in the first VIP box. Go and take a look and get yourself comfortable."
Right. I'll have a look. Are there how many seats in that area are there?
So there is 3 seats at the front. There is 2 seats at the back of that area, and it's got a little uh, like curved wall around the back of the 2 seats with an actual door that can be closed. So once people are sitting in that booth, they don't have anybody else behind them.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Uh, yes, it does.
Yep.
My seat is picked.
Yeah. So yours is already one of the ones at the back. You know that the man in the stovepipe hat will be sitting in front. You've at this point you've got a short period before it's meant to start, an hour or so.
Okay, so it's not like I have to go anywhere.
Yeah, you could just kick your feet up and just watch as they're doing run throughs and bits and pieces on the stage, and People are getting ready, the stage hands are moving, props around, things like that.
Fair enough. I would like to, at the back of that door,
Hmm.
um, find any servants' entrance or exits, uh, any pathways that lead back in down towards the stage where Mr. Boothly will be.
Hmm. So you're at the very front VIP box. There's three separate VIP ones on each side. You've got a single hallway that connects those three, and it connects at the very back. It's a really long gangway around that meets basically at the stairs that you enter the theatre in.
So it's a long way to get
If
down to the stage.
Yep, yep. Um, quickest way down would be jumping from the VIP box down to the gangway, from the gangway down to the stage. Would take you 2 seconds because you're almost on top of the stage.
It's hard to be conspicuous here. Wait, hard to be conspicuous?
Hard to be
Inconspicuous.
inconspicuous.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, am I killing a president?
Uh, you'll find out at some point. Um, Rob's not even 100% clear on this with me yet, so I'll talk that out with him. I guess.
I love it.
So as you've spent a bit of time, you're looking around. Um, you've got a feel for the area, so you're comfortable walking around here. You know the bits backstage. Um, you know uh, the quickest ways through everywhere that you've calculated. And as you're wandering around, you head back to your seat and just decide to get comfortable for a bit. And the uh, the chairs in every section start to fill up. The main section down the bottom is just those like shitty fold out chairs, and there's thousands of them down there, and it is the riffraff that sit down there. It is raiders who only come here because they might be able to see some tits. There's the socialites and the formal upper class sort of stick to the gangway up higher, and then the VIP boxes for a few. And slowly, all of those seats start to fill up. So it's a busy night. The curtain slowly starts to rise. The door opens behind you, and the man with the stovepipe hat is ushered in. He sits down in front of you, ignoring the fact that you're there. Doesn't give two shits. Um, has probably been told that you're the staff or something. Just doesn't even acknowledge you. No nod, no hello, how are you? No nothing. The curtain comes up.
Does he keep his hat on?
He does keep his hat on.
Jerk.
Uh, see, now you want to kill him. You see the cast walk out onto the stage, and there's quite a bit of hubbub in here. The entire place is packed, so there's conversations going on everywhere, and the very small little 5-piece orchestra at the front that play the music for the play start up to indicate the beginning of the the play, and nobody takes any notice. In some cases, the talking even gets louder. And finally, you see, not far below you, in the front row, this bald man stands up and he turns to the crowd, and in the loudest voice that just rings out, bouncing off the walls, and he just goes, "Shut the fuck up!" And everybody goes silent instantly. So it's obvious that this guy carries a bit of weight with him. He's got a bit of respect from the varying groups. And Mr. Lee nods and he says, "Friend, that's why you're always welcome here." And does the whole gesture, tips his hat kind of thing. And Friend does the same and then takes a seat. This beautiful woman in this flowing white dress takes Booth's hand and she steps forward and she begins calling out to the audience and she says, "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we bring to you all the story of a clown with a tragic past.
Oh god.
Welcome all to the performance of Hamlet with a chainsaw."
What?
And over the next few minutes, Mr. Lee steps forward and he delivers his opening monologue as Hamlet while he revs this fake chainsaw the entire time.
Nice.
uh,
Quick,
he,
quick semantics question.
yep, shoot.
Uh, how much ammo did he give me? And is it a single shot gun or is it
So
multi-shot gun?
this is a pipe pistol, which I believe is a revolver. Um,
Okay.
off memory. Let me just double check that, just so I'm not telling furfies. Yes, so it is a revolver. He has given you a total of 2 pistol rounds for that. So you better make them count. Um, the actors spring to life following his dramatic, punchy monologue, where he does remind everybody to sing as loudly as they can. Um, you go through, and over the next half an hour, you get to see this spectacle that you hadn't bothered with up until this point. You'd heard that there was a theatre here and they did plays, but you didn't. You didn't visit it. You didn't really understand. You spent your time at the bar upstairs, um, and that's about it. And you only stopped in briefly. You're actually quite impressed by the performance of the utter insanity that is Hamlet with a chainsaw. The leading lady playing Ophelia wields her own and punctuates every statement that she makes by revving her chainsaw. The group leaves at the end of one of the acts. The two come back on stage, so it is just Hamlet and Ophelia standing on the stage, and they start with the next act. And the man sitting in front of you, and he seems uh, almost ill with what he's watched, and he starts to yell, and he's shaking the bar in front of the VIP stand, and he says, "That is enough. That is enough, you philanderer, you filthmonger, you terrible, terrible person." And in a split second, he takes a pistol out of his own and he fires a shot at the stage.
Excellent. Do I have reaction?
You can absolutely react at this point.
How many people are in this booth? Is it full or
It
is it
is
just the two of
it
us?
is just the two of you.
Um, how light is it up in the VIP section?
It's not. So
Marvelous.
it's deliberately kept dark around the gangway and the VIP area. The only light is coming from the stage.
Okay, I would like to, as he fires one shot,
Hmm.
if possible, I would like, so like he's about to fire a second shot, I would
Hmm.
like to pull the pistol, reach slightly in front of him, and fire back directly into his face.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. uh, all right.
And
Let's.
then we'll see if this
We'll,
works.
we'll see how this goes. Um, give me an attack roll because it was going to be an agility plus small guns anyway, so that's fine.
um,
So 2d20s.
please be gentle. Oof. Uh, well,
You heavily smack into him. Uh, you weren't anticipating him to move back towards you, waving the pistol. Um, you basically slam into him instead of coming around him. You just get body blown. Um,
yep,
you still pull the pistol. It is messy. It goes through his throat when you fire.
yep.
He is still as dead as a doornail and slumps.
Well,
You
that's a win.
you look up at the stage and you see Booth clutching at his eye.
Um, I would like. Okay. I would like to, as quickly as I can,
Mm-hmm.
aim across the VIP section
Yep.
and fire towards the other VIP section,
So on the opposite side of the theatre, or the ones sort of that are going to be tiered behind you?
the opposite side of the
The
theater.
opposite side. Yep.
Hmm. Um, and then I will leave my gun in his hand
Mm-hmm.
and take his gun.
Oh, okay. Yep. So so you fire the shot. It's vaguely into the VIP section. You don't even take any notice of whether you hit anything or not. Um, straight away down to the body, and you quickly do the switch of the two guns. From where you're crouched here, nobody can see you from this
Excellent. I
angle.
would like to, in that case, I would like to vamoose. I assume there's screaming at this point because there's been
So
three gunshots.
it's a couple of seconds later. Are you looking at the stage, or are you like have you ducked your head back up to look at the stage yet?
I would peek as
Mm-hmm.
long as there's no lights open,
Yep.
lights on.
There's no lights on. Um, it seems like for the first few seconds, people thought this was part of the act, so nobody's reacted immediately. But you see the beautiful woman in the white dress is slumped to the floor, almost sitting cross-legged, and she is clutching at her bosom as you can see red taking over the entire dress. And there's two of the stage hands are rushing out because they know this is not part of the performance. And a couple of seconds later, the crowd is starting to realize, hang on, this is not part of the performance at all. And yeah, you get a few screams, and suddenly everybody gets up, and there is a rush as everybody starts pushing for the door to get away.
Okay. Am I close to? You said I'm close to the stage. If everyone's running
You're
away from the
fairly
stage,
close. So the VIP section is sort of recessed into the wall. You could drop down
yeah,
from there, and it's only like a meter and a half to the gangway where a lot of people have already cleared as they're trying to run.
yeah,
And then it would be
I,
another short drop down to the stage.
yeah. I'll
Mm-hmm.
drop to the gangway and then I'll drop towards the stage.
Yep. So as you're doing that, um, you have switched the gun. You've done all of that. Um, you can see as you're climbing up over the balustrade to then drop down to the stage again. Uh, the bald man at the beginning that had told everybody to shut the fuck up, that Mr. Lee had referred to as friend, had actually climbed up onto the stage, and he is creating himself as a human shield for the actors. So Mr. Lee has um, is crouching next to uh, the lady playing Ophelia and the two stagehands, and Friend is basically in a full fighting stance, just scouting the room, looking for anything more. He's heavily armored. He's covered in high-end military combat armor and big, heavy pauldrons. He's making himself as big as possible to protect the people on stage.
All right. I would like to jump up on stage,
Mm-hmm.
but in a way that is mirroring what he's doing.
Yep,
So the way he's standing protecting people, I would like to be a second person protecting the actors.
yep. Okay. Um, as you're climbing up onto the stage, uh, Friend is posturing himself like to block your access, and he just calls out and he goes, "Booth, is this guy okay?" Booth looks up and he's like, "Yes, yes, that's he's my bodyguard. Yes, of course." He says, "Nash, I think it's about time we leave, shall we?"
I just nod to the big armored guy,
Yep.
and then I'll grab Booth, his bloody eye, and and drag him towards a
when
backstage exit.
when you see him close, there's nothing there. He was clutching his eye at something that had fallen. A mote of dust or something had got in his eye at the same time, and he freaked out, thinking that he'd been shot.
Nice.
So Ophelia had been shot. Obviously, the man with the stovepipe hat was taking aim at Mr. Lee and missed. Um, so Mr. Lee doesn't give two shits about anybody else that's on the stage at the moment. He just goes, "Nash, friend, you're with me. There's a way out the back." Um, and he leads you to around into the back area, um, behind the scenes, and you know that there's a section right in one of the back corners of the back rooms where some of the roof had caved in, and there's cables and bits and pieces hanging down, where you can actually climb up and pop out in one of the back alleys of the terminal.
Nice.
Um,
Uh, before I climb up, can I check this pistol?
yep. So you're checking how many rounds are in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So it's a pipe pistol, much the same kind of construction. There's 5 rounds still in it. One spent. That's it.
Okay. Uh, Should we stash this, or are we planning on departing?
And Nash uh, says, "Well, if we can get out," and friend goes, "Yeah, yeah, I've got a place that you two can lie low till this dies down, I think." And Mr. Lee says to you, "Yes, yes, keep the gun. I'll use that." Now he is as weak as piss. So with the two of you helping, you manage to help him climb up and out the back.
It's good.
Um,
I was going to say I don't think I'm too much stronger than him.
Strength, no, but you're agile. So
Yeah, fair.
you haven't kept too much weight on yourself. So you're like you getting up there, you're not carrying much in yourself. So you're quite good at climbing, um, and you're able to make up for what he lacks in being able to do anything physical. Basically,
Hmm.
he's a stick of a man with no muscle on him whatsoever. And after a minute or so, you climb out. You come out into there's a random alleyway um, where you could get out of there. You push a few bits of rubbish to the sides, and the three of you are standing there. You see up close the bald gentleman that was with you, that Mr. Lee referred to as friend. And he goes, "Right, you two need to follow me then." And you can still hear from downstairs, there's one tiny set of stairs leading into this place that thousands of people were trying to get out of simultaneously. So there's an absolute din filtering up, um, still, even minutes afterwards. Um, as you guys head through the town towards the gate, the main gate to leave, and he's like, "My place is outside. It's in the ruins. If you want to come with me, we can stay there." And
Is
Mr.
this the
Lee,
friend on the screen right now?
"Yes, this is friend. Yep."
Yeah, nice.
Um, and Mr. Lee goes, "Yes, that look, friend, certainly we can do that." Um, and you make your way to the gate. Um, Both you and friend start collecting your bits and pieces, so you get your bow back
Hmm.
at the entrance. The guards at the gate are still wondering what's going on. They're just like, "Have you seen what's happening?" There's a few people filtering out of the sour mole that are sort of running away because this city is usually generally pretty safe. And there's been a mass shooting today, so you know. Um, and they're like, "Do you know what's going on?"
I just look towards Booth.
And he's like, "Yes, something happened down in the theater. It was quite scary. We made it out, but yes. Anyway, he's deliberately it's a bit shaken by it. Friend is standing at the hatch next to yours. So you collect your bow, and he's collecting an assault rifle. He's collecting a pistol the size of your arm. Like he's got every he's got a combat knife that he sticks down a boot. He's got everything. And he's like, "All right, follow me." We head through into the ruins of the heavy CBD part of Portland. So in this area, there is ruined skyscrapers still existing surrounding this area. Um, and Friend leads the group of you through uneventful. Um, just after it starts to get really dark, the moon goes behind some clouds, and Friend just Just one sec. And he lets out this warbling whistle. And from one of the shops up the street, just a little bit ahead of you, this man, big fat man, wearing big heavy armor. He's got goggles on his forehead. Um, and he leans out and he goes, big smile, and he goes, "Friend." He goes, "Dinner's almost done. How was the show?" And friend goes, "It finished early. Can you make up a couple of extra plates for these two, please? They'll be staying with us for a little bit." Um, Booth, Nash, this is Digger. Digger is my right-hand man. And the old man goes, "Pleased." Booth leans into you and he's just like, just before dinner, he goes, "Can you spend some time, teach me how to use that pistol, maybe?"
He says that to me.
Yes. Um, he's like, "We'll be in just a second, gentlemen." And he's almost pleading, because suddenly realizes that people are actually shooting at him, and he's not a big fan of it.
Does he still have his cap gun?
He still has his cap gun. You've got his pistol, or you've got a pistol. Um,
Well, we've only got 5 rounds, I think.
mm-hmm. He's just like,
So,
just show me just how to stand and how to hold the thing, I guess. Um, he's completely uncomfortable with the whole idea of even holding a weapon, but he's kind of obsessed with it. He's like, just
fair
teach me
enough.
something.
I'll get him to hold his cap gun.
Oh, okay,
We'll
okay,
we'll start with this,
all right.
and then I'll show him the stance. I'll show him how to hold.
Yep,
I'll show him how to gently squeeze
yep,
and not pull the trigger.
yeah. He's like, and after a few minutes, he's like, "Okay, all right. I think I get it. We'll try with a real gun next time. That sounds wonderful. Um, dinner,
I'll
dinner
just
sounds excellent."
I'll just show him real quick.
Mm,
I'll point at a target far away.
yep. If you want to give me an attack roll,
I'm not going to shoot.
you're
I'm
not going
just
to
going to
shoot.
show him.
Ah,
No,
okay. Just
I'm just showing him. So look over the sights at that target.
He's like, "Yes, yes,
See
okay.
how it moves.
Mm-hmm. Yes, got it."
Not a good chance to hit. I grab his cap gun and put it directly on the side of my head. See how it doesn't move? Good chance to hit.
Yes. All right. I like that. Um, Excellent. He's like, "Thank you. You've been just charming all night. We can do great things together, Mr. Nash." And with that, we close out. You have now joined the Raider gang of Friend until something changes. Um, so that's the end of your session one.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.